What's up, party people? We have another stack here, which I'm excited to share with you, and another really good O'Connor short story. Okay, I know I've been saying that a lot, I say that every video, but these last few, Miss Flannery, you've outdone yourself, okay? So it's called Parker's Back, but we'll get to that in a second. First up, I just wanted to share that, a few weeks ago in a video, I showed this book here, which was The Poetry of Alexander Pope, which, contrary to what you might expect, does not contain the poetry of Alexander Pope. I was shammed. In fact, this is a critical analysis of his poetry. So I'm very happy to report that I've made up for this, this scam. And I actually found his collected poems at a book sale. So yeah, very happy about that. I don't know if I can say much about it at this time. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to mention that I was able to undo the curse. All right, so next up, we've got probably the most popular / common writing textbook there is, and that is Strunk and White, okay? The Elements of Style. So William Strunk Jr. was a professor at, I forget where, some university, and E.B. White, okay? This is the American author that you know very well because he wrote Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web. So very formational children's stories. So thank you, sir. Now this is a very sort of short, pithy, yeah, just guide to writing. And it's a very no-nonsense. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, I have a PDF of it as well that I've been reading, so about halfway through. Very good. Next up, okay, this one, interesting story behind this one. So, I don't mean to hate, because I love the concept, but I've never found a good book at those like little libraries, like the free ones that people have in like their front yard or like at the community center, where you like leave a book, take a book. I've never found anything good in those. Again, love the concept, never find anything good. But I did actually find something I do not have, and it was very good. And that is C.S. Lewis's Letters to Children. Oh, the glare is bad. So apparently after C.S. Lewis got famous for his Chronicles of Narnia, lots of kids, would love the book and would write to him, asking questions, and not just about the book, but about life and different stuff. And so this is a selection of some of the letters that he sent back to these kids. So I'm sure it's very endearing and fun to read. So it's actually a hardcover, even though it's like pretty skinny. But yeah, and so I didn't just take it, okay, I left a book as well. At the book sale, I bought I think it was Friedrich Schiller. I bought a play by him, which the front and back cover were both in English, and then I opened it up, and it was all in German. So hopefully somebody that reads German can find it in the free library and take it. Okay, next up, we have Laozi's Daodejing, which I realize I'm very stupid because I have a copy already, but the title is translated Tao Te Ching. This one's Daodejing, which looks different, but if you sound it out, it sounds pretty similar. So I'm kind of stupid, although I couldn't resist because the cover is so cool on this one. I don't know, maybe it'll say on the inside who drew it. We can give credit. Let's see. The text is so small. It probably says, but I can't see it. Anyways, yeah, cool drawing on the front. What is it about? It's a foundational text of Taoism, which is a Chinese system of philosophy, of thought, I suppose. And I don't know what it's about because I haven't read it. But yeah, cool. I'll have to decide which copy to donate, with this one or the other one. But with this kind of cover, hard to argue against that. Next up, also snagged at the book sale, I got lucky. Okay? Because these are, I could flip these for a good profit. I probably won't, but I could. And that is works by Leonard Cohen. So Leonard Cohen was a Canadian singer-songwriter, novelist, poet, guy. I think he's from Quebec. So as an Albertan, I'm not supposed to like him, but whatever. He's famous for writing Hallelujah, the song from Shrek. She broke your throne, she cut your hair, and from my lips escaped Hallelujah. Like, I think that's how it goes. Everyone should know that song. And he's famous for other things too, but that's like his claim to fame, I suppose. We have here his first novel, The Favorite Game, which is an autobiographical story about a kid in Montreal who confronts his vocation as a poet. Now, there's a lot of bad autobiographical fiction out there. Let's hope this isn't one of them. But anyways, yeah, cool. And now next up, now that one I don't think is worth anything, but these next two are, because they're first editions. They're not hardcover, so they're not as expensive, but they're softcover. But they are first editions of two of his poetry collections, and that is The Parasites of Heaven and Let Us Compare Mythologies. Okay, I think these go for around 100 USD on eBay. I got them for $1 or 50 cents or whatever. So pretty good return on investment. What is that, 99%? No. I can't do math. 9,000% return on investment? Anyway, something like that. Can I say much about these other than the fact that they're worth a lot of money? Not really. Okay, I mean, I know how the song Hallelujah goes. It's very good, so I hope that his other stuff kind of matches the skill level. We'll see. Anyways, cool find. Next up, we have a much older novel, 1853, and that is the third and last novel of the one and only Charlotte Bronte, and that is the novel Villette. Okay, now Charlotte Bronte only wrote 3 novels. She actually wrote first The Professor, but people kept rejecting it and never got published while she was alive. Then she wrote Jane Eyre, skyrocketed to fame. Very good. I just finished reading that. I have a review on the channel you can watch. I quite liked it. And then after that, she wrote Shirley. And then after that, she wrote her final novel, Villette. And then The Professor was published posthumously by her widower, I believe. Anyways, Villette, kind of similar sort of initial premise to Jane Eyre. There's a young English governess named Lucy Snow who has some multiple romantic prospects, multiple suitors, as one often does. Yeah, she has to kind of navigate life in a new city, romance, emotions, things like that. So yeah, very cool. Now, I have a bunch of books left in the stack, but they kind of go together. And that is because I snagged, let's see here, a crap ton of P.G. Wodehouse. They were all just sitting there together at the book sale, and no one had snagged them. And I was like, what the heck? So I bought them all. And I already have some Wodehouse, and so I thought, well, maybe some of these are duplicates. None of them are duplicates. They're actually all fresh ones that I don't have yet. So I was very happy about that. The first one here is a bit different. It's called Vintage Wodehouse. It's like a selection of chapters from his books and other short stories. So that one's cool, edited by Richard Usborne. And I will say this one's got some good movement to it, some good motion. Okay, look at that. So that's quite cool. And then the rest of these, I'm just going to rattle them off because I'm not going to give you summaries or anything like that because I haven't read them and that it would take too long. But yeah, there's a lot here. I've got Blandings Castle, Galahad at Blandings, Laughing Gas. I should be showing you the books here. I shouldn't just read them. Okay, that's Blandings, Galahad at Blandings, Blandings Castle. And these are all like the, I don't know if they're original, but like they're the old like orange penguin paperbacks, which I love those. Laughing Gas, Full Moon, Company for Henry, Plum Pie. This one's not one of the orange penguin classics. Who published this one? Coronet Books, but also a cool sort of vintage cover. And then lastly we have Piccadilly Jim, right there. So yeah, very happy with those finds. Yeah, let's move on now and talk about our short story from O'Connor. Like I already said, it's called Parker's Back, and I wasn't sure because back is kind of one of those words that means multiple things. Did he return from some sort of journey? No, he did not. It's actually referring to his back, his the thing that behind your body. Anyways, we have a few characters here. We have Parker. We have his wife, who I'm forgetting what her name is. Sarah Ruth, I think. Sarah Ruth. And that's basically it. Those are all the characters. So not too many names to keep track of today. I'll try my best. I know I'm very bad at it. But this one also got me invested. I really like this one. So Parker is a kind of a, not a shifty character, but kind of a restless character. Okay, he as a kid saw this guy at the fair or the carnival who was covered in tattoos, and he just was like very mesmerized, and so he decides that he's gonna get tattoos. And so he's only like 14 or 15, but he starts doing odd jobs and working so he can afford to get tattoos, much to his mother's chagrin. And then he starts getting in bar fights and drinking and hanging out and just kind of getting into like the low life. His mother tries to take him to this revival sermon, and he runs away, and then joins the Navy because he lies about his age. And then he works for the Navy for a while, and then tries to abandon them and gets a dishonorable discharge and gets some prison time. And then after that, he just kind of takes odd jobs here and there wherever he can get them. And whenever he wants to, he just quits and leaves. Kind of just restless, never stays in one place, very non-committal. Anyway, he starts buying apples and then selling them to remote homesteaders to make money. And at one of the stops, there's this girl, and she's very kind of plain and stern. But for some reason, he likes her or takes a liking to her. Doesn't really explain why. Parker himself doesn't even know why he likes her. So he pretends to hurt his hand in his truck after it breaks down. She comes to look at it, and then she sees all his tattoos, which she is not a fan of. She is very puritanical, so she believes that everything is bad, like drinking, playing cards, anything is just bad. And so Parker's like, screw this, I don't like her. And then the next day he comes back. He doesn't know why, but he just keeps, he somehow likes her. I mean, you can theorize maybe she's stable and can he's very restless, so she provides him with stability. I don't know. Anyways, one thing leads to another. They get married, and I've been jumping back and forth here, but so does the story. So that's all backstory. But currently, Sarah Ruth is pregnant with their first child, and Parker still doesn't understand why he stays with this woman. He doesn't really feel any sort of fatherly duty. He's like, well, yeah, I could just leave her right now. Why don't I? But he doesn't somehow. And he's working at this job for this lady that lives a few miles down the road. He's doing farm work for her. She's 70 years old, but he tells Sarah Ruth that she's a hefty blonde that takes a liking to him, so to make her jealous or whatever. So not a good idea to mess with your pregnant wife like that. Yeah, would not recommend that. But he's not really a moral character. And this is one thing I've neglected to mention so far, but the big theme in the book is that Sarah Ruth is very puritanical and religious, whereas Parker is not. Okay, he's an atheist, and Parker's actually his last name. His first name is O.E., and everyone refers to him that way. He doesn't tell anyone his name, but his real name is Obadiah. It's a Christian name, and he doesn't like it because it stinks to him. And so I forgot to mention this as well, but while they're courting each other, Sarah May and Obadiah, he tells her his Christian given name, and it's kind of this vulnerable moment. Anyways, so he is wanting to, what's the reason? He wants to basically get back at his wife, kind of, but not in a bad way. He wants to I don't know how to explain it. He's feeling restless, and he wants to get another tattoo, but he doesn't know what to get. And his back is totally blank. The rest of his body, his chest and his arms, all have tattoos because he can see them, but he hasn't got a tattoo on his back. So he's okay, I'm gonna get a back tattoo. But he doesn't know what he's gonna get. He's daydreaming. He drives the old lady's tractor into the tree, burns the tractor, burns the tree. He's freaking out. And in a stupor, he gets in his truck and drives 50 miles to town, stumbles into the tattoo artist's shop, and is like, I need a tattoo right now. And then he has this revelation. He's like, okay, give me the book with all the pictures of God in it. And the tattoo artist is like, what the heck, what's going on here? Sure, here's the book. So he looks through it. Nothing's really sticking out to him. And then he comes across this painting of this Byzantine depiction of Jesus. And he's like, yeah, that's the one. I want that one. Is it Jesus or God the Father? I don't remember. One of the two. And so then the tattoo artist like works like 8 hours. He goes, sleeps at the homeless shelter, comes back. They work all day again, like another 8 hours. And then it's done. And then Parker doesn't even want to look at it. He's like, I just want to put my shirt on and leave. But the tattoo artist like he's like, I worked hard on this. Like he forces him into the mirror and is like, look at the tattoo. And he looks at it, and God's eyes, it just like stare at him and like convict him. And he's like, oh, like, it's like a bad moment for him. He's like, oh no, like those eyes are gonna be watching me for the rest of my life. So he puts his shirt on and leaves. And he still owes the tattoo artist money, but he has this, oh, I'm good for it, I'll pay you back. He goes to the pub or the bar down the road. He tries to like do some gambling at the slot machine. Then he gets into a fight with some of the guys there. They're teasing him about his tattoo. It's like, oh, you're a Christian now, big guy. And like they're like, so he gets into a fight, gets thrown out. He's like bleeding in the dirt, and then he gets up and drives the truck home. But his wife, kind of rightfully so, has like blocked the door and the keyhole, and she won't let him in. and he's pleading to be let in, like, I'm back, because he wants to show her this tattoo, because he thinks she's going to be happy about it. It's like, finally I've like gotten like a religious tattoo, like you'll like it. So finally he says his given name, Obadiah. She lets him in, and then he's like, well, check out this tattoo. And she's like, well, that's idolatrous, because God is a spirit, not a person. Then she beats him with a broom until he has welts on his back, and he just kind of takes it. And then at the end of the story, he's outside in the front yard by a pecan tree, just crying. And she just stares at him, and she doesn't feel any emotion. And that's the end of the story. So again, a lot of these stories kind of darker, like unresolved endings. But kind of similar to, oh man, now I'm not remembering well. I think it's similar to the last story in the fact that like the person who like really undergoes change and really like understands Christianity and Jesus and the gospel isn't the person who you'd expect, right? Because like at the beginning of the story, Sarah Ruth, the wife, is portrayed as religious, right? She's the one that kind of is like a moral person, but her beliefs are all based on works. They're all like Old Testament beliefs. She doesn't really understand the gospel, and so this like kind of uncouth, restless, like low life guy who like kind of has been dodging Jesus all his life, finally like comes to terms with like his sinful nature, and his revelation is the true one. He understands the gospel because he understands that he's a sinner and needs saving, and he undergoes that revelation when he sees the eyes of his tattoo, like of God staring at him. So yeah, very interesting short story, very good. Wow, we're already at 17 minutes. I don't even know. I'm always aiming for like 12, 13, and we always go over time. So maybe I should just expect to go long. But yeah, hey, thanks for listening. Tune in next week. We've got our very last short story in this compilation. So the end of an era. We're wrapping up. But yeah, thanks again, guys. See you next week.